Hello, welcome to Fallibroome. This is a video to introduce you to Google Classroom. To get to Google Classroom, go to any Google web page and sign in the top corner. And once you are signed in, press on the app launcher and you'll see some options for you. If your teachers want to communicate with just you, they will send you an email through Gmail. But if they're sending things out to the entire class, they'll use Classroom, which you can open just by clicking on this tab. While that's loading, I'll just point out that you can also download apps for your Android or Apple phone, and it's a good idea to do that because it gives you instant access to everything that I'm about to show you. When Google Classroom opens, you'll see that there's a tile for every subject. If you haven't used Google Classroom before, you'll find that there is a join button on each one of these tiles because your teacher has invited you, but you need to accept the invitation. You can drag these tiles around into any particular order that you want, so you can make this look in a way that makes sense to you. If you take a look inside each classroom, so for instance, let's take a look inside this English classroom, you'll notice that there are 3 tabs available to you: the stream, the classwork, and the people tab. Now you already know who's in your class because you can see them in the classroom, so it's more important for you to concentrate on these 2 tabs. On the Stream tab, you'll see announcements that have been sent out by your teachers. So for instance, this teacher has sent out a message to say, welcome to the class. Other times they might send out messages like, don't forget your apron for DT tomorrow, and things like that. Or there's a really good program about today's lesson on TV tonight or on iPlayer, why don't you look it up? So the announcements are really messages and you don't have to do anything with them. However, sometimes teachers will also set you things that you do need to do, and in particular, all homework at Fallibroome is set via Google Classroom, and that's the most important thing that you're going to be using Google Classroom for, I imagine. So here is a post by the same teacher who has set some homework, a spelling test, and you can see that it's got a due date here, and also in this box at the side you can see that that's flagged for you as well, so you just can't miss it. To look at your other classes, you can click on this menu in the top left corner, and you can either go back to the home screen by clicking on classes here, or you can just jump straight to any particular class that you want. So for instance, let's have a look in the science class. You can see that this teacher has also posted a lot of things that aren't announcements, but not all of them are assignments. So this one is, but this is a material. So what is this pointing you to? So each one of these things is referring to posts that have taken place on the classwork tab at the top here. Now the classwork tab is a misleading name because it isn't just stuff that you will use in class. This is where your homework is, and it's also where any downloads are that your teachers might think are important. So for instance, this teacher has placed links to download the knowledge organizer for the topic, and also the PowerPoints that they have been using in each of their lessons so far. However, also on here are homework tasks, and you can tell a homework task because it has a due date next to it, whereas all of the other posts don't have a due date. Also, homework tasks have this kind of clipboard icon, whereas the materials that you might just want to reference look more like one of these bookmark icons. Some of your teachers will also split this page up with headings that'll make it easier for you to navigate. If you take a look at one of the assignments that has been set for you for homework, you'll find that if you click on it, you can get a description of what the teacher wants you to do. And then if you click on View Assignment, you'll find a button over here where you can hand your work in. So sometimes your teachers will ask you to upload a piece of material because you need to submit the homework electronically, in which case you might write something in Microsoft Word, for instance, or PowerPoint, and when you've created that file, you can click Add, and you can upload it by clicking on the File tab. At other times, you might not want to use Microsoft programs, for instance. You might want to use Google Online, so there's docs and slides and sheets, and you can just click a new document straight from here, and as soon as you do that, as long as you create it using this menu here, it will automatically be attached to your work, and when you're ready to do it, you can click Mark as Done. At other times, your teacher might give you a file that they want you to fill in, so you might find that there is already a document that is attached to your work, and what you need to do is to click on that document, fill it in, and then when it is filled in, you click the Hand In button. Whether this button says hand in or mark as done, it's really important that you click it. They do the same thing, the words just change depending on whether you're electronically submitting something or not. But it's important that you do click the button, even if you've filled in a piece of homework as a paper worksheet and you've handed it in class as a piece of paper. You still need to mark this button as handed in or marked as done, whichever it says, because only then will Google Classroom know that you have done the homework. So why is that important? That's because Google Classroom offers you a way to see all of your homework at the same time. So if you click on this to-do list over here, you'll find that you've got a list of all of the homework that has been set that you haven't done yet. Now, the only way that things will disappear from this list is if you tell Google Classroom that you've done the homework. So as soon as that you've completed a piece of homework, come to the to-do list, click on the piece of homework, and then click the button Mark as Done. As soon as you've clicked that, you'll find that Google Classroom now knows that it's been done, and so when you go back to your to-do list, it's no longer there. In fact, it's now on this done list over here, so if you click on that, you can see that this has now been handed in. If you happen to change your mind and you've submitted something too early or you've forgotten to attach something that you needed to attach, you can always unsubmit the work and then you can complete whatever it is you needed to do and then you can come back and do it again. The to-do list is the most important place in Classroom for you because it keeps you organised. You might also want to glance at the missing tab every now and again just to see if there's a piece of homework that you've forgotten to do. Now, in this particular case, this piece of homework has been done. The student has just forgotten to click the Mark as Done button. So all they need to do is go back into Google Classroom and just mark it as done, just to make sure that it doesn't appear on their to-do list anymore. If you prefer calendars to lists, you can click on this, and if you do that, you'll find that it lays it out more as a calendar, and you might be able to use that to plan your time better. Some people prefer the to-do list, some people prefer the calendar, but either way, both are where you will find which homework has been set for you, what's due first, and you'll be able to plan your time onto which evenings you do your homework on. If we pop back to the list of all of the classes, what you want to do early on is to check that you are a member of all of the Google Classrooms for all of the classes that are on your timetable. If for any reason one of your teachers has forgotten to add you to one of your classes, you just need to ask the teacher to do so and they'll add you, and then a new tile will appear with a join button on it. Or sometimes the teacher will give you a code that you can fill in, and if you click on the plus button at the top here where it says join class, you'll be able to fill in a class code, and that will allow you to join the class directly without an invitation. You won't only have class tiles for the curriculum subjects as well. Sometimes you'll have tiles for other things. So for instance, this student has a tile for their tutor group, and all students are members of a year group classroom where your learning manager might post messages that's relevant to the whole year group. Occasionally you'll also be invited to classrooms for extracurricular topics as well, such as a lunchtime PE club like a football club, or you might be able to you might be involved in the music and they might tell you when your concert's coming up, what you need to practice, when the rehearsals are. So Google Classroom really is the central hub for all of the messaging electronically that is sent out from the teachers to the students, and you need to make sure that you have a look at Google Classroom every single day because this is the most important way that we communicate with you. Just so that you understand, because parents ask us a lot and you can help us by explaining this to your parents. Parents don't have access to Google Classroom. They can't log in the way that you have and they can't see this page like you do. All parents have access to is a weekly summary email that is sent to them, and it just lists the messages that have and the assignments that have been posted by your teachers, but they can't see any attachments and they can't see any links. So if there is anything that your parents want to help you with homework that you need to show them, you will need to sit down with them at a computer and log in and show them the view of this from inside Google Classroom, because all they'll really get in their weekly summary emails is a notification that there is some homework, but they won't get very much details from it. Okay, that's your introduction to Google Classroom. Have a play with it. Maybe sit down with your parents and show them this video so that they can help you with it as well. And if at any point you get confused and you don't know what's going on, just ask any of your teachers. Good luck!